Joining us now. She's been a frequent guest on this program. We're happy to have her back, and she's got some news for all of our listeners as well. She is Trisha Calvarese, and she's joining us here on Ryan Schuiling Live. Trisha, welcome back.
Well, hello, Ryan. Thank you so much. I hope you used your hand, Italian style, when you said that.
Calvarese.
Right? Yeah. No, and I want to thank you so much for having me on. And, you were one of my very first interviews. I was a brand new candidate last year, had never run for any office before. And I'll never forget, I was on the way to something and we had our interview and I pulled over in the parking lot of the DSW where I used to bargain hunt with my mom in the sales rep. And I felt close to her there. And you were so kind. And it was such a wonderful conversation. And thank you so much for being open and inviting me on the show now. We might not agree on everything, but we've had some amazing conversations. And I'm thrilled to be back to announce I'm running again to finish the job, to retire Lauren Boebert. So let's go, Ryan. Let's go.
Trisha, I admire your gumption, and also I've always found our conversations to be fun, and there's one big reason why: we're both nerds. So,
totally, nerd out, absolutely.
Well, but there's a purpose to the nerddom here that I'm citing and why I'm having you on, and that is simply by the numbers, talking about political campaigns, percentages, chances of victory. I know that this has come into your calculation as to whether to run again, but I want to inform our audience that you halved, and I mean HALVED, cut in half, the previous Republican winning margin by Representative Ken Buck against one of your primary opponents, as I recall, Ike McCorkle, who ran in 2020 and 2022. Now, Ken Buck, he won by almost an identical margin in each of those races, about 61-36. You chopped that number almost exactly in half, in fact, maybe a little bit more than that, in your head-to-head matchup with Representative Lauren Boebert this last time around in 2024, within 12 points, 53.6 to 42. The more compelling part to me, though, is you were also the candidate in that special runoff election against Greg Lopez, where he had a similar margin as Ken Buck in previous elections, head-to-head against you, plus 24, 58, 34. But the outlier here, the numerical nerd number here, is how much closer you were in a race that overall, nationwide, favored Donald Trump. He won the Electoral College. He won the national popular vote. Of course, he didn't perform as well in here in Colorado, but you did. So take us back to that 2024 race. It was a difficult one. It was an uphill climb, but you showed out well, and what that result told you.
Absolutely. I mean, Lauren Boebert underperformed President Trump in nearly every single precinct. And I overperformed Harris by about 6%. So I'm really excited for a race where we don't have those headwinds. We don't have the top of the ticket. It's just going to be candidate to candidate and what we offer this district. And you're exactly right. It was an uphill battle, and it was a very short runway for me. I got into the race pretty late. What was so interesting is Lauren Boebert pulled a bit of a fast one on folks. She had been representing the 3rd district and then kind of, looked at the math and thought, okay, she was going to skip, ditch her district, the 3rd, and run in the 4th. So, you and I are nerds. We're so immersed in this. But you go out and you talk to folks, hardworking people. They're not paying attention to Washington, D.C. They don't know everything Lauren Boebert has done or not done in D.C. So we have time now to really reach voters, to make our case and to hear from them about what their needs are, what's not being met, and how I can serve. Because that's really what I'm running on, Ryan, are those values. I was raised by conservatives. I was raised by Republicans. My great rebellion was becoming a Democrat in high school. My parents kind of encouraged that because we had ultimately wonderful debates in our family. So I am so excited for this race.
Trisha Calvarese, our guest, she is a Democratic candidate for the 2026 election in the 4th Congressional District. Quick question, Trisha. Are there any other Democrats that have declared yet?
I'm not paying attention to them, frankly. I'm laser focused on raising money because I'm not backed by billionaires, not by Soros, not by Elon Musk. I am a people-powered campaign, and that means I'm not beholden to anybody except for the voters in Colorado 4. And I'm hearing from them. I'm hearing from Democrats. I'm hearing from unaffiliates, and I'm absolutely hearing from Republicans. about what our needs are and what they want their voice to sound like in Washington, D.C. And that's exactly, I'm reaching out everywhere in our district. And I have to say, it's such an honor to be able to do so. I love this district so much. I'm from here. I'm literally, my roots run so deep here. I was confirmed at St. Anthony's in Sterling, I baptized at St. Anthony's in Sterling back when my dad was city attorney, and grew up in Highlands Ranch, went to Fox Creek, Crest Hill, Highlands Ranch High. And I came home when both of my parents got sick with cancer at the same time, and they died days apart. So I understand the crisis of care in this country. I mean, end-of-life care especially is an absolute crisis that nobody's talking about. Nobody's doing anything about. And, our rural hospitals are in crisis as well. And the cost of everything, including care, is going up. So we need somebody who wants to roll up their sleeves and get to work in Washington. I'll work with anyone on common sense solutions and to bring them to our district in Colorado 4.
Trisha, you've always struck me as kind of a throwback, a Democrat that, honestly, that people can relate to and that harkens back to a different time. I think it's a breath of fresh air, and I think nationwide, Democrats, with your approach, your strategy, your set of principles, would fare a lot better than what we've seen in recent elections. I mean, let's call it what it is. Democrats lost the White House. They continued to lose ground in the Senate. They could not reclaim the House. They're having a bit of an identity crisis right now. Now, you're still firmly a Democrat, but what would you say would be the way forward? I think you're an example of this, but where the Democratic Party needs to go from here and what your part in it is.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you. And I agree with you completely. Like, I come from the labor movement. I'm coming from AFL-CIO, where at the end of the day, I believe people should be able to work hard, to have a good job that can support a family, that has benefits so you can be able to take care of and, goodness forbid, even spend a bit of time with your family and retire with dignity. That, to me, is the American dream. It's about restoring that. You're right. I am not a Denver Democrat. And I'll tell you what, Democrats got trade wrong a long time ago by bringing China into the WTO with no guardrails, right? And NAFTA and CAFTA enabled these agricultural monopolies that they tanked Central and South American economies, which really created these immigration pressures. So I think that we absolutely do need to reshore American manufacturing, American innovation. But I think tariffs are on one end. What we need is smart industrial policy for domestic development. And I think that's going to be especially important in the AI era. So we need, savvy, smart people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and do this kind of work. And I don't, put whatever label on me that you want to put on me. I'm here for the people at the end of the day. It's about people, the middle class, restoring America's middle class, because that is the backbone of our economy. And frankly, I think you should be able to get one of those amazing jobs starting right in and right out of high school. Let's bring the trades back into our high school. What happened to shop, right? What happened to all of those kind of the skills and the crafts? And let's make them for this century. Let's make them in AI. Let's make them in quantum. Let's make them in aerospace. And I think that there's so much potential in Colorado's 4th district. I love this district so much. We talk about reshoring pharmaceutical manufacturing. There's tons of room on the Eastern Plains. Why can't we build that here? I think we absolutely can. We just need an advocate who's going to connect all the dots and go and fight for it.
She's back for the rematch, and you can find her online. Let me make sure I get this website right. Trisha, the number 4, Colorado.com. Is that right?
You got it. Please pitch in. I'm people-powered.
Trisha for Colorado.com. Trisha Calvarese, Democrat candidate, just announcing today and joining us with that announcement here on Ryan Schuiling Live. Trisha, we appreciate that. We appreciate you, and look forward to many more conversations during the campaign.
Thank you, Ryan. And go Nuggets, go.
There you go. What a win last night. Oh, way to punctuate the interview right there. Trisha with that road win. A shocker for the Nuggets in Oklahoma City against the Thunder and the number 1 seed overall in the NBA playoffs. We'll take a timeout when we come back. A very important conversation coming up next.